Baby.
I think Fred's coming down here tomorrow.
I'll be in Vegas tomorrow, Bill.
Oh, fantastic. I'll be staying at the Hacienda out at the Hoover Dam tomorrow night. We're leaving the Palace Station, but everything's going good. John DeLuca looks good, and we'll touch him up on his football knowledge here since he's a baseball umpire.
Yeah, that's true.
But how's everything going?
Trouble Sports Bash on KOWL 1490, The Owl. Can I get a hoot hoot from you guys? Hoot hoot! Hey, we've got Fred Reptke, Chief West Coast cross-checker for the Tampa Bay Rays, and the next star, as far as I'm concerned, the next pitching star for the Rays. He came out of Reed High School, third year last year. He made his debut, and we're looking for big things. I've got Jake McGee here, and we're going to talk baseball right about now. Here we go. Okay, the first thing I'm going to ask, we're going to go to Fred. Fred, I'd like to delve a little about where you first saw Jake, how you heard about him, and what you saw in Jake that thought he was going to be a good draftee for the Rays.
Wally, the first time I saw Jake was in August of 2003 at the Area Codes in Long Beach, California, which is one of the largest showcases for high school prospects going into their senior seasons. I had just moved up into the Carson City area, so I really didn't know who Jake was, but when I saw him take the mound, I guess the first thing I noticed was that he was left-handed.
Yeah, and I know you were a lefty in your career, too. You favor lefties.
When you see a left-handed pitcher, you sit up and pay attention. The next thing I noticed was his shoulders were like coat hangers.
He's one of the biggest young men, I'll tell you. I thought he was a football linebacker when we first met him.
He wasn't real physical at that time. He had broad shoulders, but he was thin. He had a very loose, very quick arm. The arm worked really good, and it was fast.
Yeah.
I followed him that spring up in high school, and I'd gotten to I'm going to say probably 5 or 6 of his starts in high school. And, in high school, he was a guy that was roughly 87 to 91.
And that's pretty good at junior year. And I know, bringing you in, Jake, at this time, I know that this has not been an easy road for you. I know you've worked very hard. Your family's been behind you 100%. They put a lot of miles and time into this. And it looks like you're not going to disappoint anybody. It looks like that work was really quite worth the effort. Jake, let me ask you, when Fred approached you and you heard the Rays might be interested in him, did it alter your thinking of how you were going to pitch, or did you start working on in a certain area when Fred contacted you?
Mainly, I was just trying to focus on what I have to do on the field, and the biggest thing in baseball is you can't worry about everything off the field. You only worry about everything you can control.
Personally.
So when Fred came up, and I had a lot of other scouts come up too, I was more comfortable with Fred because he lived in Carson. He came up all the time. He's able to see me a lot more than a lot of other scouts.
And Freddie was able to give you a much truer assessment. You probably felt Freddie was more got your back than the other guys, too. That's just how I feel about Fred. He's been a friend of mine for quite a while. I worked at the Horseshoe. We met. I was in boxing, so our sports got us together. And I couldn't be happier that he drafted you. And I know we met your dad. What a great guy. He backs you 100%. Your whole family does. But let me ask you one other thing. You made your debut in September. You had a strikeout, and you had a couple walks, but then you went on, you did very well the rest of the year. Jake, what are your expectations this year? What do you see, honestly, where do you think you can get this year?
I feel like I'm going into spring training on don't let my head get too big because I've only had a couple weeks in the big leagues, so I want to go into spring training, do everything I can on the field, and I would like to make the team out of the bullpen to start the year and kind of work up towards the year into bigger spots.
Have they been breaking you down as a long or a short reliever, a closer? Are you actually I know you can go. You were a starter. I know you could do long relief. Most new people in baseball have to start in that role. It's not quite the glamorous role, but certainly is the most important position out of the bullpen. How would you feel about being that long relief? Think you could handle that?
Yeah, I think I could really handle it. On the long relief, you kind of sit around a little longer instead of if you're in short relief, you'll be
more active, short relief.
Yeah.
But your stamina, it looks like you've muscled up since we met a couple years ago. Let me ask you something else. I know that after your second year, you had what they call the Tommy John surgery. Now, could you explain exactly what that is and how you feel that may have helped you to get to where you're at today?
It was a big part of my career when I think about it now. At the time when it happened, I was in AA and I tore my ligament off my bone.
Wow.
So from then on, I had surgery, and then at first they're like, it's a 12-month rehab, but you won't feel good until about 18, 19 months. So after that, my work ethic has totally changed. I've done a lot more working out on my arm and arm exercises, because that's a huge part of it.
Now, for you personally, a lot of the guys are telling me that it's better these days not to bulk up as much so your arm stays loose and you have more fluid motion. I mean, it looks like you're a muscular kid, but you're a big kid too. When you throw the ball, do you feel anything? Are you conscious about that shoulder at all? I mean, you must be a little, yes or no?
Not really anymore, because I was for a while, and then last year in like around May is when I finally felt 100% from where I was before, and I hadn't had to worry about it since.
Oh, great. Freddie, jump in here. When he had that surgery, he had to sit out for a year. Was there anything that you were able to do to keep him calm? Did you talk to him during the time he was recouping? And I know that you went and started throwing the ball a little with him and helped him out in that area. But it must have been really tough for both you guys, you as the signee and you as the draftee, sitting out that year, because I know, Fred, you have great anticipation for Jake on the league. So tell me a little how you felt when he was sitting out and the anxiousness you might have felt.
You know, at the time he got hurt, Jake has made a name in our organization since the time he started.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was one of the top prospects every year. He made all-star teams. I mean, he put his name on the map immediately. And when he got hurt, it was kind of like, I mean, I wasn't that worried because Tommy John surgery, everybody comes back, and a lot of guys come back better than before they got hurt.
Well,
but Jake and I have a good relationship.
yes, you do.
We keep in touch with each other, and when he got hurt, I called him to make sure his head was right and he wasn't getting down, and you know, because he loves to play.
Oh, sure. So, well, what major league player wouldn't love to be on the field? I mean, that's a dream of. I was a little run outfielder, and just to know that someone like this made his debut, it even tickles me pink. I get a great feeling to know that someone I know made their debut. And hey, I have Tampa connections. We had family down there. John DeLuca was down there. He started his AAA baseball umpiring down there. And so, but another one thing, Jake, I wanted to ask you is a lot, I've heard, but I don't know if it's true. Are they doing this operation on purpose if they feel it over here? Are they doing that now on purpose if they think they've got something and maybe the kid's tight, are they just going to go ahead and do that and get you going and sit you out? Is that an operation that they're doing standard?
It really isn't. When I had my surgery, Andrews did the surgery, and he was coming in and saying there's like 12 and 13-year-old kids' parents.
I got to interrupt you, Jake. We'll be right back, everybody. More baseball in a minute. You're listening to Double Trouble Sports Bash. Okay, this time I'll do my ads.